Oh, hi. Oh, you snuck up on me there. I'm so glad you could join me this morning. You know, this morning we're going to talk about the disciples. Actually, we're going to be talking about Jesus calling the disciples. You know, the first disciples were fishermen. They were ones who went out on a boat with a net, and they threw the net over the board, and they would bring up fish. Yeah, they were fishermen. You know, but in the time of Jesus, if let's say like really important people were right up here, they would be down here. They weren't seen to be that important, but we know they were important because we're all important in God's eyes. But there were a lot of times where the fishermen, they might be doing things and they would be told to stop. They would be, stop. You're not supposed to do that. Could you imagine? They're called to be disciples. They're called to follow this religious teacher, Jesus was a rabbi, and called to follow Jesus, the Son of God. And people might go, stop, you can't do that. And it might seem like there wouldn't be any way around. Like, for example, like I hold this stop up and it's really hard to see me. Yeah, but you know what? God gave the disciples a calling, which meant that the things that would normally stop them, they were able to go right through. Now, I'm going to show you an example of this. Like, I am going to walk right through this stop sign. Yeah, I am. And that reminds me of all of the things maybe that you know God is calling you to do, and you go, oh God, I don't know if I can do that. That is really, I don't know. So there's times where we're like, oh, I don't know if I should talk to that person. I don't know if I can read in church, well, or at least video. I don't know if, there's just so many things that we wonder, is God really calling me? And these cuts in this paper remind me of all of the things that we think, I don't know if I am able to do this. Everyone tells me to stop, or maybe I tell myself to stop. That's usually the case. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. But God calls each and every one of us. So I've got this. Now, I am opening this up to make one final cut as we see about walking through this stop sign that reminds us that God removes barriers from us. We have the stop sign here. We can still kind of see it, but watch. I stretch this out like this. I'm going to even come up closer. Look at it, and I can walk through even with my arm on. I should have thought about that as I walk through it. I ripped it. That's all right, because you get the idea that God takes this and he stretches it and he makes it. I always call this God enlarges or God widens the circle. What that tells me is that the times where I'm wondering, do I belong? God takes God's grace and wraps it around me and holds me close. And maybe here, as this broke open, I'm like, oh no, because I'm like, oh, maybe I should do this whole thing again. But you know what? This tells me that the circles that I draw, God takes that and widens it. He widens it to where God takes it and encircles the entire world. Where I think it should stop, God says, no, I'm calling you all into my love and into my grace. Yes, you, my friends, are called and wrapped by God's grace, and God calls you to be a disciple. God calls you to be a follower of Jesus. God calls you as a loved child. claimed in the waters of baptism and saying, I love you. All right, here we are. Stop signs, be gone. I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.